You know, sometimes an event happens and it cuts right through everything, stops you in your tracks.
Absolutely. It forces a pause, makes everyone look up.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking a deep dive into one such incident, something that's really echoed across the country. We're focusing specifically on the tragic assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University.
A really shocking event.
It is. And our goal here, like always, is to carefully go through the details we've gathered from our sources for you. We want to understand not just, you know, the basic facts of what happened, but also the context surrounding it, the immediate national reaction, and maybe some of the bigger questions it raises, really give you that clear picture.
And what's striking, I think, is how quickly an event like this can act as a sort of lens, focusing attention on these underlying societal tensions.
Yeah, like fault lines?
Exactly. Fault lines that maybe we don't always look at directly. So given its official classification, it immediately brings these larger concerns to the forefront.
Right.
So this deep dive, it's really about laying out the facts as we have them, understanding the incident in the immediate aftermath so you can grasp its significance, see how one moment illuminates much bigger things.
Absolutely. So let's start with the specifics then, the core facts. What do our sources tell us happened?
Okay.
The central, undeniable fact is that Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, co-founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed.
A very public figure.
Definitely. And this occurred at Utah Valley University, that's in Orem, Utah, during some kind of campus event he was involved in. Yeah, it's stark.
And this is where the language used by officials becomes incredibly important. They didn't just call it a murder or a homicide.
Right. What was the term?
The official classification was a targeted political assassination.
Wow, okay.
And that's not just words. That classification, it completely shifts the understanding of the event, its gravity, its implications.
How so? What does that classification signal?
It signals that authorities believe this wasn't random. It wasn't a personal dispute that escalated or, a robbery gone wrong.
It was deliberate,
Yeah.
political.
Exactly. Deliberate, calculated, and aimed at him specifically because of his political role and beliefs. That's the implication.
So when they use a term like targeted political assassination, practically speaking, does that change the investigation immediately? Different agencies get involved?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. Yes. It elevates it way beyond just a local police matter.
Right.
Calling it that signals a potential threat related to domestic terrorism, or at least severe political extremism. So you also always see federal agencies like the FBI stepping in immediately.
Okay.
Because it's not just a crime against one person anymore. It's seen as an attack on the political process itself, potentially. It suggests a broader ideological motive that needs federal resources to investigate fully.
Understood. And then there's this other layer, almost unbelievably ironic. Our sources say this happened during a debate on gun violence.
Yeah, that detail is incredibly poignant.
Right. The very subject being discussed becomes the backdrop for this extreme violence. It's chilling.
It really is.
Yeah.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, like we were saying, the setting becomes almost as significant as the act itself.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it. A conservative activist assassinated during a public debate on gun violence.
Yeah.
That combination doesn't just amplify the shock. It creates this powerful, almost unbearable symbolism. It immediately sparks questions about, can we even have these debates safely?
But the safety of public discourse itself.
Precisely. Are our civil spaces protected? Where do we draw the line between passionate disagreement and violence?
Yeah.
It makes the whole thing a national flashpoint, not just a local crime.
And the public reaction reflected that scale, didn't it? Our sources talk about widespread grief and immediate calls for unity.
Yes, the reaction seems to have been very swift and very strong. Grief, shock, and this call for unity.
Which you sometimes see that after tragedies, but this felt different somehow, maybe because of who was calling for it.
That's a key point the sources highlight. These calls weren't just from one side. They came from leaders across the political spectrum.
Like who?
Specifically, President Donald Trump and former President Barack Obama are mentioned.
Wow. Trump and Obama saying similar things.
Yeah, issuing similar calls for unity and condemning the violence. And that makes you stop and think.
It really does.
How can an event like this, even just for a moment, seem to bridge these huge political divides? Seeing figures like that aligned in condemnation is noteworthy.
It definitely is striking, but I guess the question is, how long does that last? Given how deep the divisions are, is that unity real? or more symbolic? Does it actually change anything?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? And based on the information we have, it seems more like a powerful symbolic moment. A collective recoiling from an act that everyone agrees crosses a line.
A baseline agreement.
Exactly. This type of violence is unacceptable, full stop. But does it fundamentally alter the underlying political tensions or the way people argue? Probably not in the long term.
So a shared moment of outrage maybe, but not necessarily a path to fixing the divides.
It seems that way. It's like a temporary truce declared in the face of something horrific, rather than a lasting peace treaty, if that makes sense. The structural issues, the rhetoric, they usually persist.
Right. And amidst all this national focus, the politics, the investigation, there's the personal tragedy.
Absolutely essential not to lose sight of that.
Our sources note Charlie Kirk leaves behind his wife and 2 young children. It grounds everything, doesn't it?
It does. It's a stark reminder of the human cost. Beyond the headlines, beyond the political analysis, a family has been devastated.
Irreversibly.
Yeah. It underscores how political violence isn't abstract. It has deeply personal, devastating consequences for the people closest to the victim. It's important we remember that human element.
Definitely. And on the investigation side, things are moving quickly, too. The FBI is involved.
Yes, the sources confirm the FBI is leading a manhunt for the suspect.
Which, again, points back to the seriousness, the classification we talked about.
Exactly. FBI leadership signals this is being treated as more than a local crime. It has national implications, potential links to broader ideologies or threats that require federal resources.
It connects directly to those wider concerns mentioned in our sources, doesn't it? The heightened worries about domestic terrorism, about these deep ideological divides.
It seems to crystallize those anxieties, yes. An event like this, especially when labeled a targeted political assassination, it pours fuel on those existing fears.
How so? Like a feedback loop.
Kind of. You have escalating political rhetoric, potentially creating an environment where someone might feel justified in violence.
Right.
And then an act of violence like this happens, and it deepens the fear, entrenches the divisions, makes people trust the other side even less. Reconciliation becomes harder.
It makes the divide seem even more dangerous.
Precisely. It intensifies anxieties about domestic terrorism, especially ideologically motivated violence. It forces a really uncomfortable look at how deep these rifts are and their potential consequences. It's like holding up a mirror to the state of our public conversation.
So, okay, we've walked through a lot here. To sort of recap for you listening, we've got the confirmed details of Charlie Kirk's assassination at UVU. The specific, crucial designation as a targeted political assassination. The immediate reaction grief, but also these notable bipartisan calls for unity.
Right, from figures like Trump and Obama.
And the ongoing FBI investigation, all happening against this backdrop of bigger national worries about domestic terrorism and just how polarized we've become.
It's a heavy, complex picture.
It really is. So what does this all mean? Where does it leave us?
Well, I think the implications, especially for our political discourse, are pretty profound. An event like this forces us to ask hard questions about the limits of disagreement.
How we argue, how we debate.
Exactly. How do we navigate really strong, deeply held ideological differences without letting things spill over into violence? It highlights the fragility, maybe, of peaceful debate.
And the need for what? More careful understanding.
Critical understanding, definitely. When you encounter news this serious, it's vital to understand the context, the terminology, the different layers involved. It's a stark reminder of the potential consequences when rhetoric escalates and divisions deepen. We have to look not just at the act, but the environment it happened in.
Which leaves us and you with a final thought to maybe mull over. How do societies confront targeted political violence? How do we address the underlying ideological divides that might fuel it without just falling into even more division?
A huge challenge.
It is. And what role does informed civil discussion, even about the really tough stuff, play in trying to navigate that?
Yeah.
Especially when events like this happen, events that feel designed to pull us further apart.
A critical question for all of us, really.
Something to definitely keep thinking about.